Hi, I'm Dr. Thompson. I'm the veterinarian behind yourvetfriend.com. Today I want to talk to you about assisted feeding for cats and kittens. Now you'll note that I said assisted feeding and not force feeding because it's not a good idea for anyone to try to force feed a cat. It can be dangerous, but I'm going to show you how to do short-term assisted feeding with a syringe instead. I like to use this high-calorie IAMS healthy kitten food in pate form. I mix it with just a little bit of water in a mini food processor. You have to put in several containers to have enough volume to mix with the food processor. I added about half of one of the food containers full of water to the food processor. Then I mixed it well. Scraped down the container and mixed it a little bit more. You want to end up with something that looks like a thick gravy. So it's thin enough to go through the syringe, but not so thin that it will just run out. Here's how I prepare the feeding syringe. This is a curved tip syringe. It holds about 12 cc's of liquid or gruel, and I'm using a nail trimmer, but you could use heavy-duty scissors to cut off the thin end of the tip so that the opening is a little bit wider. After I cut it, it has a little bit of a sharp edge to it, so I used a brand new emery board to kind of smooth down the end of it. And then I removed the plastic burr so that it felt nice and smooth. Now the syringe is ready to have food put into it. This part can get a little messy, so you might want to do it over your sink. Here's the gruel that I made earlier in my food processor, and I'm checking to make sure it's the right consistency. It's also at a body temperature. You don't want it too hot or too cold. Now just take the plunger all the way out of the syringe. And then I have a special way that I hold it here. I hold the barrel between my thumb and index finger and then use one of my other fingers to block off the end so that the food doesn't just run right out. Use a spoon to spoon it into the barrel until it's just about full, but not all the way full. Carefully insert the plunger back in and it squirts out a little bit, makes a little bit of a mess. But hey, kittens are messy. I'm checking the syringe to make sure the food can flow out of it, and it looks pretty good. So now I have my kitten and pet her a little bit, make sure she feels comfortable and she's not scared or fighting. I use a little hand towel as a bib, and it also helps me with restraint. You can see I've got a good hold around her neck, but her whole body can move. Now I bring the syringe up and gently insert it into the corner of her mouth and just press the plunger just a tiny little bit. You don't want to put too much food into their mouth so that they breathe it in or so that it stresses them out. And just put a little bit in at a time, wiping as needed. Make sure you go slowly and pay attention to your cat's reaction. This is not force feeding, this is assisted feeding, and they should be licking the food and swallowing it without getting too stressed out. Now she started to get a little bit resistant here, so I just stopped, give her a little pet, wait until she seems calmed down, and try again. And this time she was willing to take a little bit more. Remember, this is a short-term solution that you should use only until you can see your vet to find out what's going on with your cat.